Hi, everybody. It is episode 533 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, October 30th, 2024. I'm Chris. With me is Druten
Hello.
and Spooky Walnut.
Yes, very spoopy. All the spooks.
Especially because you hate the sounds that Discord makes.
I just hate the sounds. I love spooks. I hate the sounds. They're it's more.
Are they too scary for you?
No, they're just stupid. They're bad. And then it's like the message chime that you get. Like normally it's just like boop, but it's not just the boop that you get. You get the boop, and then you get like a noise with it as well, and it's just bad. And I'm tired of hearing it. And I didn't know you could turn it off. I didn't even know that they told me they were turning on. It just happened one day. They shouldn't do that. It shouldn't do that.
I mean, I agree, but there was like a very clear notification I got that like hovered over the Discord window on both the desktop app and the browser that said like there are spooky sound alerts. Like you can turn them off. And I said, I don't get sound alerts. I don't have to worry about this.
You're probably not constantly on Discord like I am. Like, my Discord window is always open, so I just clear everything and not pay attention to it. You probably actually take note of, like, new things.
No, I mean, like, I always have, like, the tab open on my laptop. I only have the desktop app on my desktop computer. On my laptop, I just use the browser.
Mm.
But, like, both of them prompted. Because you also have to remember, I don't like fucking, like, stuff like that. I don't like alerts. I don't like notifications on things. Like, my inbox is empty because I don't want the fucking number next to it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see like notifications and stuff, I disable them. Like, Discord started doing that thing where at the top of the user list in the app, it shows you like what people are doing, and I don't give a fuck what people are doing. So I turn that the fuck off immediately. Mm-hmm. That might only be in the browser. I haven't seen it on the desktop app.
It's on the desktop app. But the desktop app also, I think by default, started hiding the user list.
It does depending on the size of it, I believe.
Yeah, I always have a user list on desktop, and it's half my screen is Discord. So
I usually have the user list too, but I wouldn't say it's half the screen, but I do have it stretched a little bit larger so that it does show that stuff. Yeah, I just like shrank it and the user list disappeared. So Drew, you might just actually have it like condensed a little too much.
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure I had to like re-enable the user list.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, I know like if you change the size, it can go away. But I also think they made a change at some point where it was like, we're just hiding the user list now.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I don't think I ran into that.
It is just a button at the top of the thing where you can say hide member.
Oh, right.
Oh, shit. I never noticed that until you just said it.
Yeah, it's just a button.
Yeah, they added that at some point and made it by default that the list was gone.
I'd never turned it on, so I don't know about that.
Or, well, I definitely remember having to turn it back on. I was like, where the fuck did they go?
Maybe you accidentally clicked the button.
Also possible, but...
Yeah, because that was... when I mentioned that was literally the first time I ever noticed it, so...
Yeah, I mean, obviously, same for me, since I just said I've never seen that before. But anyway. It's the day before Halloween.
Yes.
Which means this episode will post on Halloween.
Yes.
So...
Happy Halloween!
Yeah, hopefully people, do something fun. Or not do anything at all, depending on what you like to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what you people do.
No, you should care what they do. They're our fans. They listen to us. You should care what they do.
Yeah, man, just do what you want.
They can always tell us what they do as well. And, like, we can discuss that as well.
Why would we discuss what other people do?
Because if it's something that they want us to talk about what they do. Like, if they want to be like, hey, here's my Halloween tradition with gaming, they can tell us. And we'll be like, oh, that's a cool Halloween tradition. It's like fan mail, Cobb. We can respond to fan mail if fans wanted to send us fan mail.
I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah, it is. They send us mail and we read it.
Potato, tomato.
Yes.
Anyway.
Huh.
Richard, what is on the agenda?
So we all should have watched Cabin in the Woods, the greatest horror movie of all time. Then we'll figure out a new theme for the next book club. Then, Cobb, you saw M Night Shyamalan's movie Trap, right? That's him?
Yeah.
I think that's him. Yeah, that's him. I finished Vox Machina Season 3. Now, I know we talked a little bit of Vox Machina Season 3 last week, but the last 3 episodes aired. so we can discuss that a bit more. And I also beat the Dead Space remake that came out like a year after Callisto Protocol or something like that, maybe
It
two.
came out a month and a half.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Callisto Protocol was the beginning of December. Dead Space Remake was the end of January.
It's still technically the next year.
I mean, it was
was
the
a year
next
later.
year,
It was the next year, but
but it was not a year and a half later.
yeah.
It was a month and a half later. So yeah, we watched Cabin in the Woods, the 2012. I mean, it's a horror movie, but is it a horror movie?
It's the greatest horror movie. This is my favorite. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this movie. It's so good. It's so silly. It's so fun. It does lean on that those horror tropes because it's supposed to, and like it just makes it so much better. And I love this movie.
I like it. It is not my favorite horror movie. It's probably not even my top 10 favorites, but I do enjoy it a lot.
Look, you watch a lot of freaking horror movies, so I understand. Like you're looking more for horror. This doesn't. It has that horror theme, but it, like you said, it's not full horror, especially like halfway through.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because this one is more satire.
Yeah. So that's why horror movies are so tropey. We're just trying to appease the gods.
I mean, that is basically what this movie says.
Yeah. Drew, what did you think about it?
I thought it was mediocre.
So-
I feel one of my biggest issues with it is I feel that they should have kind of hid the whole underground base stuff until later in the movie.
So I don't know if you remember the trailers and commercials for this, but
No.
that was completely hidden. This movie was billed as a horror movie from the get-go. And
Sure.
so they leaned on that very heavy early on, just to let you know, like, oh, by the way, this isn't at all what you expected it to be. So like,
yeah, but it's only not what you expected it to be if you like went immediately after seeing commercials for it. Whereas within the context of the movie itself, it's just it's a non-twist with kind of a twist at the end.
yeah,
But I feel like it would have been way more effective to have hid the fact that this was all kind of predetermined, or at least like these 5 were like set up until, in my opinion, I would have done it. The reveal would have been when Chris Hemsworth tries to jump the gap and hits that force field. That's when then you cut to like this underground base or whatever.
yeah.
Yes. So funny enough, and I messaged Richie about this when I was like watched it over the weekend. In my head, that reveal was not as early as it was, and I was actually, I forget what podcast I listened to. It might have actually been the Bombcast today. They were talking about horror movies, I think, and that got brought up. And whoever was talking about Cabin in the Woods was like, I thought the reveal was way later. Like, I don't remember the reveal being the literal first scene of the movie.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing, though. The reveal of what these people in the lab are doing isn't right away. That's the thing.
It's before anything actually even
right.
happens to the people, though.
Yeah, it is, but it's subtle. It's very subtle up until they get to the cabin. Then once they're at the cabin and you start seeing the cameras or you start seeing the screens, that's when you realize, oh, this is a setup.
But I think it would have been more interesting if you can still have maybe like slight teases, like the guy on the roof that watched them drive away, and it's like, what was that about? And then little things.
I would
and
even
then,
argue that
oh
the
fuck,
bird.
here's this underground base that's fucking with everything.
Yeah, I would argue even the bird, when they go through the tunnel that dies hitting the force field, I think you could even leave that in and still have the overall kind of twist.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, oh, you see a force field, and it's like, is this aliens? Like, what's going on?
Yes. Yeah. Like, yeah, you could have kept that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that would have like hurt pacing very much. Hurt pacing.
But
because
why would it like
just to stop to basically stop the movie to then explain what's going on the back end rather
But
than
they don't
just
really
build
ever
on it.
explain anything about the base until the fucking end of the movie anyway. All the underground base shit at the beginning of the movie fucking barely matters.
But that's
in
the
the
thing.
actual grand scheme of the movie.
It's building the mystery of what's going on with the base thing until you get the reveal, like, oh, they have something to do with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's also built. It's also built in to build the satire and the comedy of it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think like those scenes do actually impact the overall movie, but I think there is a way that could be done and still make it still have the reveal happen a little bit further into the movie. Like, it doesn't have to be the very end of the movie, like,
Right.
but like I just feel like it could have had like a different reaction if it was later. I still like it the way it is because like they lean into a bunch of the tropes in an interesting way. Like, they introduce it right away that you have your stereotypical slasher movie like human people where
but they go opposite with that. They don't lean into that. The
No,
very beginning of the movie,
Rich,
Chris Hemsworth, the jock, is one of the smarter people in the group.
I know that. I'm getting to that. Let me finish. I mean, like the underground, like the scientist people, like that is their whole thing. They need a group of people that is the very stereotypical, the virgin, the whore, the fool, the jock, and the genius or scholar or whatever it was. And I think they even make a comment that like this was the best option they had of people they were able to find to like set up for it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, like they introduce like the main girl, you kind of get told right away she was having an affair with her professor. Like, she's not a virgin. Hemsworth comes in and like he initially seems like he's a little bit of a goofy jock, and then immediately like picks up a book off the girl's shelf and goes, "You should bring this book, not that one. The professor doesn't know this one as well. Like, you'll seem smarter to him."
Mm-hmm.
And then while they're at the cabin, when the quote unquote fool is like going on about like something here isn't right, he says like, I forget the character's name, but that he's on a full academic scholarship. He's not on like a sports scholarship. So like the characters in the movie are telling us like this is not like these characters are not those stereotypes while they're being pushed to do the stereotype things.
Yeah.
And even the guy that is the fool, like the fact that he smokes so much pot that their drugs aren't affecting him. And his character is never the goofy fool character that he's never the pothead from those movies. Like, for as much as they do with smoking pot in like slasher movies, that character is always like a fucking idiot. Like legitimately just somehow survives half the movie by just sheer luck and happenstance. Where this guy was actually highly intelligent and like caught on very quickly that something was going on.
Yeah.
And the main girl even says, like, at the end, when Sigourney Weaver's just like, the virgin has to either survive or die last, and the girl looks at her and goes, "Virgin?" And she's just like, "We work with what we get."
Yeah.
So, like I thought that stuff was interesting, and the fact that these people were just like, well, we have to cheat a little bit, otherwise we're never going to get the actual setup that these, like, elder gods need.
Mm-hmm.
I think it did a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
I just do agree with Drew a little bit that I think it could have still been a really they could have still nailed all that stuff while also showing us that there are people pulling the strings just a little bit later. Even if that little bit later was like right after they unlock the zombie. Like, if they end up in the basement and like leading up to that point, it's all a very like stereotypical horror movie. With just those little nods that the characters aren't the stereotypes that they're being played up to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go into the basement. They're all kind of doing the different things that could potentially like rain doom upon them. And right when the girl reads that like final passage that summons the zombies is when it cuts to the underground bunker of everyone like betting and shit like that. And like have that kind of be that point where like they start interspersing between the two and showing us that some weird government agency is like running this shit and causing this to happen. And that's when they could also show off like the very stereotypical like Japanese horror thing going on in Japan with like the fucking ring looking demon girl like in the school terrorizing like the little school children,
the kids in the school, and then all the other horror tropes that we don't know about because we don't really follow those horror movies.
But even not following those, like you can look at that and just from like the remakes of like movies that we've had over here, like The Ring and The Grudge and shit like that, you're like, oh yeah, no, that is absolutely like stereotypes of Japanese horror movies.
Well, no, I was talking about all the rest of them because they did flash through the rest of the
Yeah.
monsters. I'm like, we don't know any of those because we don't really follow any of them. Like, we don't that stuff doesn't come over here to the States.
That is true. Like you really had like at least like with a lot of Japanese horror movies now they're just becoming available to watch.
Yeah.
But like there was that long period in like the early through mid 2000s where a lot of them were just remade in the US. And now it's just like we're just getting like dubbed versions of a lot of that stuff through streaming platforms or like shitty remakes like that one Rich, what was that movie? I think it was your pick. Where it was like a Korean version where it was like the zombie apocalypse and the like American version was
I think it was like Alive or
Alive
whatever.
was the Korean one.
Okay, Alive was the good one, and then
hashtag Alive was the Korean one. And what was it? Alone was the American version.
yeah, and like frankly, the American version was pretty shitty.
Yeah.
But yeah, like unless you seek out those foreign like horror movies, you're just not really necessarily seeing them the way you did 20 years ago. So I know there have been quite a few like German and Swedish ones that like end up on Netflix that like you hear people talk about, but like they're all subtitled. And while I don't mind watching things subtitled all the time, like horror movies, I don't want to watch subtitled. Like you're going to miss something by like reading what is happening versus like just experiencing it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Cabin in the Woods is awesome though. It's a fun movie.
It's a great movie. Like I said, one of my favorite movies overall. Like I think about it all the time, and like obviously I don't watch as much horror movies, so it's like, well, I mean, this fits in horror, so it's my favorite horror film. But yeah,
it is funny, Drew. Last week, when you weren't here, at the end of the show, like Richie asked, like what I thought you might think of the movie. And if I remember correctly, I said you're either going to appreciate it for it kind of making
fun of the tropes
of like making fun of like the common tropes, or just think it's incredibly like mediocre. And it sounds like you thought it was mediocre.
Yeah, I would appreciate and this is also again where I feel like if they cut out a bunch of the underground stuff, they could have spent more time on the characters trying to do actually more subversive things with them instead of having to almost just like one-liner off the fact that they aren't who they are like troped to be exactly.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like I mean, it's been over a decade since I saw this movie. I don't remember the first time I watched it realizing some of like the thing, like the little nods, like he's an academic scholar, she was having an affair with her teacher. Like I think when I originally watched it, I did just have this expectation that they were just normal horror movie tropes, and that like it was what it was at face value with this like weird underground agency kind of like pulling strings.
Mm-hmm.
So this time watching it and like knowingly catching that stuff, it did like hit a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Rich, anything else you want to say about Cabin in the Woods?
No, no, not really. I don't know, not really. I don't really have much else to say about it.
It's a good movie.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun. I kind of one of my favorite things about it is the one guy really really wanting the mermaids. I love that he's just like, man, just one time I wish we would get the mermaids.
The mermaids, and then I love that a unicorn was like a villain that could happen.
Yeah, the fucking murder unicorn was the best thing in the movie.
Like all the that's one thing I've always wanted from this movie is like obviously after seeing the movie, you know they can't do a sequel. I mean, technically they probably could, but they can't because this was the end of the cycle. But like,
I mean, they let the world end, right?
Yeah. I always wanted like an anthology series type thing with this movie that would be like I'd still give it that satirical like underground situation with people running the show, but like I want to see some of the more ridiculous monsters to happen. I want to see what they would do with the merman, with I mean obviously like we saw them both in this, but like like I want to see what other monsters they had, like the ballerina girl with all teeth, the guy with the ball, like.
So that was another thing where we were trying. I don't know if either of you guys even thought about this, but we were trying to like pick out what some of the other ones were from.
Yeah, like the guy from with the ball is supposed to be Hellraiser, I think.
Yeah, that's supposed to be Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Yeah.
There was definitely the girl that was supposed to be like from The Ring. There were people with like the weird masks. They were supposed to be the Strangers.
I thought the Purge. I was thinking the Purge with those guys.
No, because this movie was way before the Purge.
Was it?
Yeah. Maybe not way before the Purge, but Cabin in the Woods came out before the Purge. And if I remember correctly, Cabin in the Woods was also filmed like 3 or 4 years before it released.
Yeah, when I was going through the wiki, there was definitely like 2 years of delays of it not coming out or something like that. At least 1 year where whatever distribution company was supposed to release it dropped it, and then it took a year or whatever to get picked up by somebody else.
Yeah, it was filmed in 2009 and didn't come out until 2012.
Yeah, Purge was 2013. I thought the Purge was sooner. That's another horror movie I've always wanted to watch, and horror series I've always wanted to watch, but never did.
Some of them are fun, some of them are not. The first one was probably maybe not the best of like the best movie, but had like the best like concept.
And I mean, it's got Ethan Hawke, so of course it's gonna be good.
But it was like them being like in like this one house throughout this thing made it a little more tense. Yeah. The later films became more action movies than horror like thriller horror movies.
Yeah.
And took on larger scopes generally. But no, yeah, the people with the mask were from The Strangers, which was Liv Tyler and somebody else who's we literally just watched it after watching Cabin in the Woods. Where it's like a couple that's like going to like the guy's like childhood like cabin in the woods sort of deal. And it's not in the woods, it's just like a cabin or house like kind of like in the middle of nowhere. And these people just terrorize them all night and then murder them at the end. Yeah. And it's 3 people and they're all wearing like slightly different masks, like the 3 people that came out of one of the elevators. So it was fun, like trying to pick out the different, like what the different things were based off of or inspired by.
Yeah,
I had fun with it. I think one of them was supposed to, the ghost. I think may have been inspired by one of the ghosts in 13 Ghosts.
When I see ghosts, especially in a tropey horror movie, or a satirical horror movie, I think like Poltergeist or something.
Have you ever seen Poltergeist?
No.
There's no ghost in Poltergeist.
But that's what a poltergeist is a ghost.
Yeah, you there's no like entity in the original Poltergeist.
You don't see it.
Yeah, at all.
But it's there.
It is literally an alternate dimension that you never go into. It's weird. But yeah, fun stuff. Stuff.
Yeah.
Rich, I believe you did have an idea for another theme, right?
I remember having an idea besides sports movies for a theme. And I thought I brought it up to you.
You may have, and I forgot.
I can't remember what it was anymore. I didn't write it down for sure. Didn't write it down because
what is Slack?
I don't know. And I feel like it was a good. I remember telling you, and you thought it was a good theme. Was it like sequels that we've never seen? It wasn't sequels of movies we've never seen.
That was the one that I did. Like
No. Sequels of movies we had never seen. Not sequels like say we saw just for example, it would have been Independence Day 2. I have not seen Independence Day 2.
So just sequels of movies that we've seen.
Sequels of movies that we like, the sequels we haven't seen, not the original.
Sequels we haven't seen of movies that we have.
Yeah. But no, I don't think that was it. I don't remember it was good. It was something along those lines. I don't know. I don't remember. But when I saw this, I started thinking, it is 2 months from Christmas. Do we want to, I'm not going to say specifically Christmas movies. Do we want to do four sets of holiday movies to get through the end of the year? Or 4 holiday movies? One every 2 weeks?
Just like any holiday movies?
Any holiday specifically between Halloween and Christmas. But any holiday movies, I guess we could lean on that. But like we could do 8 Crazy Nights, which is the Adam Sandler movie, cartoon movie, if it's available. Or like, yeah, any. I don't know. I don't really know how much traction that has.
I'm willing to give that a shot.
And we could do Thanksgiving, even though we just did a bunch of horror movies. That is a Thanksgiving horror movie. Are there any Thanksgiving-based movies?
I mean, I think Thanksgiving might be it. And like, there are plenty.
There's actually a horror movie called Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, I looked up Thanksgiving movies, and yeah. But like, there's also movies like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which is if not Thanksgiving, then Christmas.
I think that is Thanksgiving, actually.
Is it?
I think so.
It's old enough that climate change hadn't ruined the world, so it's cold wherever they are.
I mean, we could just pull the ABC Family, and if it mentions Thanksgiving in it, it counts as a Thanksgiving movie.
So, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is them trying to get back to Chicago in time for Thanksgiving Day dinner.
Okay, so yeah, like there's stuff like that would definitely fall on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so we want to do like maybe 2 Thanksgiving movies and then 2 Christmas movies, or like
Christmas and a New Year or something,
or holiday season movies in Christmas. But if or like a Thanksgiving movie and holiday season movies after that, or something like that.
Oh shit! Well, Rocky is apparently a Thanksgiving movie according to Rotten Tomatoes editorial.
Okay,
I mean, Addams Family Values is technically a Thanksgiving movie.
So is Spider-Man from 2002, because they do have Thanksgiving dinner in that movie.
Oh, well, okay, so a couple things real quick. So looking at the calendar, if we're on our normal 2-week schedule, the second of whatever we pick will be the episode we record the day before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is 28th this year, right?
Yeah. It would be the 3rd Thursday, right?
Yeah.
It is the 28th. So it is the 4th Thursday.
Yeah. So yeah, so we would do, it would be the 14th and the 28th would be the next two things.
And then we're currently scheduled to be recording on Christmas. So
yeah, so but
we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
but that movie, I see what you're saying, that like that the movie of that week would be that Christmas Day episode, or that Christmas Day recording. So like we could do a holiday movie and then a Thanksgiving and another holiday and then a Christmas.
I mean, if there, is there a other holiday movie other than 8 Crazy Nights that we would even really want to throw in there?
The original jingle all the way, since we've ruined next year with.
I mean, well, I meant a not Christmas or Thanksgiving holiday.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Like obviously, like we can other Christmas movie or whatever if we can't think of anything else. But.
Yeah, and I'm sure we can find something. Like there's enough shit that happens in December. Like I'm sure we can find another movie, even if it's something like isn't there's a movie that's shit. What is it? Hang on. I need to figure something out. I feel like there is a movie where people get taken hostage at Thanksgiving.
2? Oh.
I mean, also like Die Hard 1 or 2.
Is Die Hard 2 around the holiday? I know 1 obviously is, but
I thought the second one was 2. It's at least winter. It's winter. Family hostage giving.
Oh, as with the first film, the action in Die Hard 2 takes place on Christmas Eve. I did not know that.
I should have specified movie in this search.
Get some real shitty news stories.
Yeah, yeah, I did. All right, I can't find the one off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there's like a movie about like a family that was like it's like a black comedy where they're like taken hostage around like Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Oh, fucking not with Dennis Leary, is it?
Actually, it might be. It might be. Let me look. That sounds familiar now that you said his name.
Yeah, like as you were trying to talk about it, I was like, wait, I'm vaguely remembering a Dennis Leary movie with that kind of a plot. Fuck would it be? It's none of those.
I feel like it was like late 90s or early 2000s. Not Demolition Man. Though Demolition Man, fun movie.
It's a great movie.
The Ref. It's a Christmas movie on Christmas Eve.
Oh, well, 94. Okay. Oh,
earlier than I thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Ref maybe we watch.
Yeah. I can't believe I was like, wait, it's a Dennis Leary movie, isn't it? Fuck.
Yeah, good job.
I mean, we could just do 2 Thanksgiving movies and then 2 Christmas movies.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense.
Well, if we're gonna do that, Rich, what Thanksgiving movie would you like to watch?
Oh boy, I don't
And
know.
is it Thanksgiving, or is it Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, or is it Rocky?
It should be Rocky. No, it's
Hmm.
not Rocky.
Man, that
just-
cast in fucking The Ref is pretty good.
I just googled Thanksgiving movies. There's really surprisingly not a lot, to be honest.
There's a lot of movies that happen around Thanksgiving, so
Yeah.
like there's just like a moment of Thanksgiving in them.
That's not available anywhere. But I think it's got a solid cast. Would have been a nice movie to watch.
What movie?
It was going to be Friendsgiving. It's got Amy Poehler. It's got Wanda Sykes, Kat Dennings, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not
it is
available.
available on Stars.
Yeah. So
if we can get trials,
good. Do you guys want to do that?
trials are free.
We could do that. We could do Friendsgiving. It's
And
got a solid cast.
That it is actually a pretty good cast. Like it's a lot of people that are generally pretty funny.
But I mean, it's 19% on Tomato Meter and 4.5 on IMDb.
It's 3.5 on Amazon
So
out of 5.
yeah, I don't. Is this? I'm assuming this is supposed to be like it's a comedy movie. So I don't think they often do very well.
No, and
Pretty
also
cool.
Amazon says the IMDb rating for it is 4.4 out of 5.
Google has it 4.5 out of 10.
Is IMDb out of 10?
IMDb is out of 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if it's free, like
Yeah.
it's an hour and a half.
Yeah. Why the
And,
hell not?
like,
It's not that long.
I do generally think like Aisha Tyler's funny.
Yeah.
Kat Dennings is funny. Ben Stiller was apparently a producer.
Chelsea
Chelsea
Peretti's in it.
Peretti.
Nice. Yeah, let's watch this. It's got a great cast. So, if anything, it's going to have good comedic timing and be silly.
Yeah, and it's actually not that old. It's from 2020. So
Yeah.
that also may be why it's rated poorly because people didn't really watch it when it came out.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was. I mean, it might have been released on theaters. I don't know.
Right, cool. So we will do Friendsgiving for this one in 2 weeks. I double checked. Like there are places to get free trials for Stars too, so we don't have to like spend $10 or whatever to fucking rent it. I feel like the rental prices just keep going up. Like I realize it's still cheaper than like buying the physical media or the or like going to the movies, but like man, for that much money, like give it to me more than 48 hours.
Right.
Anyway, moving along. I did watch the movie Trap, the new M Night Shyamalan movie.
How was it?
I actually liked it.
Nice.
I'm usually like I can be a little hit or miss on his movies.
That seems like the general consensus on his movies.
Yeah, most people are like, you love it or you hate it. And
I feel like the ones that I dislike tend to be ones that people actually have higher opinions of. Like I think Signs is a fucking garbage movie, and I know that's generally well liked, I believe.
Signs is a great movie.
I fucking hate it. It's one of the dumbest fucking movies I've ever seen.
I've never seen it, so we have the gamut.
Yeah. I think part of it too is I just don't like Joaquin Phoenix. It's not like he's a bad actor. I just don't like him in things. Like,
I mean, I understand. Like, I'm not a big fan of his either, but like, I enjoy the movie. And when it comes to having not a great cast, like you've got that movie. Like Joaquin Phoenix, in my opinion, I don't know. I don't really care for him. I think I've heard he's a dick too. So like,
apparently he's very method actor. So like,
Yeah.
depending on the role, he can be like real hard to deal with.
and then you have fucking Mel Gibson, who is a fucking dick. So like, it kind of stains that movie. But he wasn't fully a dick when that movie came out.
He just wasn't. He wasn't known as one.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that he wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, it wasn't known that he was a racist at the time. Or not racist, but anti-Semite. Or also I can't remember.
I mean, he's just a grumpy old man who has a lot of bad opinions about everything.
And then I think was it Dakota Fanning was really the only one that was that Dakota Fanning?
Oh, I have no idea. I saw that
girl?
movie in 2002 when it came out and thought it was trash. It may have been.
I think it was. No, Abigail Breslin.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, she was in Zombieland.
It was Rory Culkin was the little boy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
He was great in Succession.
I never watched Assassin.
It's a good show. But yeah, Trap is actually like the tagline for the movie. Like what the movie's about. Josh Hartnett is a serial killer at a concert with his daughter, and the police are there to catch him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how they know to be there or anything like that. But like that is the setup for the movie. And apparently, they actually like filled a fucking arena with people and put on a concert and filmed this like as a concert was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So like part of it was M Night Shyamalan fucking putting on a concert for his musician daughter.
Yeah.
Because she plays the role of the pop singer that is putting on the concert that everyone is like there to see.
Okay.
And
he used all of his connections to try to get people to listen to her music.
Yeah. And you know what? Like she was good in the movie. Like she didn't like she sounded fine like singing, but like her actual like acting parts, like they were good. Like she was not bad in that movie. When we finished it, I'm not going to spoil any twists. But Eric and I did spend like 15 minutes trying to decide what the twist actually was, because there were a couple possible things. Because none of it was I see dead people and oh shit, Bruce Willis is the dead person.
I mean that's the thing about a Shyamalan movie is like because of The Sixth Sense, specifically because of The Sixth Sense, he was always built up as like, oh, the twist. There's always a major twist, but like a lot of his movies don't have that. Like they're really the only two that I can think of that have a major twist is The Sixth Sense and Village. Besides that, like
no, I mean the devil technically had one with it being the old lady. The Happening has it with it being the fucking trees.
That's not a twist. That's not a twist. Like, I'm sorry. Like, they explain that right in the beginning of the movie that they think it's something with the trees and the weather or something like. But like, when it comes to the devil, I don't know. I didn't see the old lady being the devil as a twist.
But did you expect her to be the devil?
I didn't not expect her to be the devil.
I mean, that is the definition of a twist, though.
But it's not an I see dead people and we're actually in modern day. We're just hiding out in this wildlife preserve twist. Like it's just surprise actually. So it's like I don't know. When it comes to an M Night Shyamalan movie, I'm just like, and people are like, oh, what's the twist? What's the twist? I'm like, it doesn't necessarily have to be that a big twist.
And
is what I'm
yes,
saying.
like it doesn't have to be like a major twist, but there's always something that's like he is known for it for a reason, and like they vary in like how big and small they are. But this movie is what I mean is like this one has like a bunch of like kind of smaller things where it's like, was this a twist or was that like the twist he was going for? And it's hard to talk about without spoiling it, and it's too new. I don't want to say exactly what happens. But like it was a fun movie. I enjoyed kind of seeing him go through these motions of realizing he's kind of been caught, but not totally caught, and trying to find a way out of the situation without like alerting his daughter, who has no idea who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you got into the movie without knowing like that he was the killer, in the first 10 minutes, they show you like he pulls out his phone to check a video of like his latest victim like locked in a basement somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So like they don't beat around the bush or try to like hide that from you. And then yeah, there's just so much like kind of cool stuff going on with like him in this concert venue and just finding ways like into parts of the venue that he shouldn't be, and in a couple instances just dumb luck. Like at one point they're trying to buy merch, and him trying not to draw attention to himself, like somebody else gets the last t-shirt that his daughter wanted, and he just says something like, let them have it, they seem to want it more, like just to like diffuse the situation, which like gets him on the good side of the dude selling t-shirts. So then he gets information from that guy that he probably wouldn't have otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times he's just super ballsy. Like he steals somebody's like access badge, like that works at the arena, and just walks into the room where the SWAT team is having a meeting, and just pretends like he works there and gets a cup of coffee. Like not a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that whole thing, like following the movie from the bad guy's perspective and like almost finding yourself like not rooting for him, but like being nervous that he's going to get caught. It was actually kind of weird because like you keep catching yourself as you're watching. It's like, oh no, this guy's actually a bad guy. Like he should get caught. But every time he does something, you're like, no, don't do that, you idiot. Like you're going to get found out. Yeah, fun times. It was a good movie. It went to streaming very quickly too. I think it came out in theaters in like September and went up on Max this past week.
Yeah, I mean, it did have a quick reception. I think, I mean, it probably didn't do that great in box office because nothing's doing great in box office.
You know what though? A lot of stuff is hitting streaming quicker, even though there was that like big to do about movies getting like full theatrical runs. Because Beetlejuice did the same thing. It just didn't go. It didn't go on to Max. It went on to Amazon for like rent. But it was like you could rent the digital version on Amazon on like October 8th. And it was still actually being played in theaters too.
And a box office, it got 82 million. So it's not bad for a $30 million budget movie.
No, I mean like it probably made at least a small profit.
It made at least 20 million. Because if you're talking 30 million for the budget plus 30 million for advertising.
Yeah, that's why I said it probably made at least a small profit. Like,
yeah.
Which, I mean, fucking, that's what they're looking for. Funny enough, I saw like this clip the other day of what's the Hot Wings show? Hot Ones?
Hot Ones, yeah.
With Matt Damon. And he was talking about how DVDs used to be like the thing that made movies worth producing when they weren't going to be big blockbuster movies.
Yeah.
And the reason you don't have more of those like not indie movies, but not blockbuster movies, like the Good Will Huntings and stuff like that, is because there's no more physical media sales.
Mm-hmm.
Like a movie can like underperform at the box office, and then it would make up for it on physical media, like DVD, VHS, Blu-ray. But now, like he was talking about a movie that like he was actually trying to get done, and it was like he had to put in it would have been $50 million to make the movie, and then another $50 million, like you said, to market the movie, and then any profits past that get split with the theaters. So like whatever chain theaters are showing it, they each get a portion of the profits as well. So like it takes a lot of money for a theatrical release to actually make them anything like really back.
Yeah.
And he's like, the DVD releases used to be, 6 months later, you almost had like a new run of the movie at that point.
Yeah.
Because you had the people that went to see it in the theaters that liked it enough to buy it, and the people that didn't, that were either going to Blockbuster and renting it, and Blockbuster had to buy hundreds or thousands of copies of movies, even if they were buying them at like wholesale prices. And now that just doesn't exist anymore. So now you get like indie movie Oscar bait sort of stuff, or like big blockbuster like Marvel movies. Like there's not really a lot in between anymore.
Yeah,
there's not a lot in between that doesn't go directly to streaming, which
there's too much content and you're never going to see it.
Exactly. It's too much, and in a lot of cases, no one really knows how these movies are even making some of these streaming platforms money. Because like they're spending millions of dollars to produce them, and they're not necessarily getting millions of dollars worth of new subscribers. So like, how are they doing it?
It's almost as if ad-free viewing is not a lucrative business.
I mean, that's why there really is no more ad-free viewing. Like Netflix is the only one that is actually still ad-free.
And that's not for much longer.
Are they adding ads for all tiers?
I think they were planning on it at least. I mean, I have ad-free on Hulu and D+. And then I get frustrated with Amazon because I don't even think they have an ad free, and they didn't have ads last year as far as I remember.
So there is an ad free one. You have to pay like an extra like $10 or $20 a month for it.
Fuck that.
Amazon doesn't bother me as much because at least what I watch, it's at the beginning of things.
Nope. I mean, probably with movies, yes, but with TV shows.
Oh yeah, I don't watch any TV shows on Amazon.
I was watching Legend of Vox Machina, and halfway through the episode, we'd get an ad break.
Yeah, like Peacock, Amazon, and I think HBO to an extent, but HBO's ads are their own shows, and they've always done that.
Yeah.
But Amazon and Peacock for sure any movies we watch on there, and actually a lot of the TV shows on Peacock too, it'll have like 3 minutes, 4 minutes of ads before it starts, and then it just runs the duration of the thing. Peacock does the thing though, at least on the app on our TV. If we pause it, it doesn't show like the still of the thing we're watching. It starts cycling through ads. So it's like they're getting some ads that way too.
Mhm.
But anyway, Trap, good movie. It's on Max. If you like, thrillery sort of movies, it's actually a pretty good one.
Nice.
You know what? Josh Hartnett, pretty good in it too. Haven't seen that guy in a movie in a long time. Mostly because I just don't happen to watch the movies that he's been in.
Mm-hmm.
But Rich, how was the rest of season 3 of Vox Machina?
Played out similar to how I thought it was going to, especially with certain aspects of it. So we talked last week about Legend of Vox Machina episode 1 through 6 of season 3. Or was it 1 through 9? I think it was 12 episode season, 1 through 9 basically. And about how at the end of episode 8 or 9, one of the main characters dies. Percy died. And like after discussing it with you, I'm mad that I didn't mention this on the podcast. That like most likely what they're going to happen is have them bring him back to life after a certain point because of a story beat that they're just trying to fill, and it's exactly what the story beat was going to be for me. They couldn't bring him back to life because his soul was trapped with a demon. And that's what happened. So like I was happy to see that they brought him back and didn't keep him dead forever, because like he is a primary character in this show as it moves on, in the series as it moves on, and with them having a Mighty Nine season, and they have season 4 coming out. And we're most likely going to see a Bell's Hell series. Like, we're gonna see the current content, and like these characters are playing a big role. If you don't watch Critical Role, like they took on the bodies of Vox Machina in this most recent episode. But it was really good. It really did. They varied off the original game story quite a bit. And they didn't lean on some things, which like works. Like it makes sense, because this is like you're trying to turn, let's see, the Chroma Conclave, this series of the Chroma Conclave, probably, let's say, 80 hours into 6-ish hours of content. Like, you're obviously going to have to cut stuff out and mix stuff, but there's also some key moments that like fans are going to want to see. The bathtub scene, everybody wanted to see that, so we were excited that they put that back in there, or that they put it in there. And they also used this, the death of Percy, which Percy did die in the game, but they brought him back to life right away. They used it as a plot point for the following season, and how they're going to connect Vax with the Matron of Ravens, his patron, who he is the champion of, and things like that. So like they're really pulling it all together, and we're gonna get to see like a really cool final Vecna season, which is going to be great, and I can't wait for it. It's probably going to be at least it might not just be one season, it might be 2 seasons. No, I mean, because at the end of the season, they all split up and went their own separate ways. So it really does make sense that like the next season will probably be the last, with them dealing with Vecna for those 12 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, but
is season 4 supposed to be the final season for it?
we didn't even know they were getting a season 4 technically.
Okay, that's also fair.
I think the Kickstarter only covered through season 3.
I actually thought it was only a single season.
No, they got stretch goals for 3 seasons, or at least they got a stretch goal to do the Chroma Conclave as an additional season.
Okay, I thought it was just the Kickstarter did so well that Amazon's like, oh, people want this. Yes, we will keep making it.
No, there were definitely, it was part of the stretch goal, which is why they continued to do more. So it was trying to find maybe I can't remember some animated series or dreams. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find Briarwood Arc. Oh no, so that's right. The stretch goals. I don't remember what it originally was, but I remember them just saying like their stretch goals ended up being the Chroma Conclave or something like that. Let's go into it. 22 more minutes. It's animation for each tier of stretch goal. Conclusion of the Briarwood arc. Or is that just the breakdown of why they need? No, that was the stretch goals. Weird. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember like why they got the second season, but like it was announced recently that they were getting a season 4. I think it was announced at the end of the episode, basically, that they were getting season 4.
Okay.
I don't remember an official like how many seasons Amazon had signed them for. But like, I mean, I guess it's doing Amazon good enough to where they like, because they did set it up to where like this could have been a finale. But we all fans of the series know, like, oh, we know what you're leaning into, and with them also being signed on for a Mighty Nine series, it really just makes sense for them to finish up the Vox Machina series.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure like if season 4 would just be the end.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I don't know how if they have 4 or 5 seasons signed for Amazon for this one. Either would be fine. They could definitely do the final season in season 4, but they could break it up into 2 more. I don't know, but it was really good. It was nice change of how things were. It was nice that they like even built in this little rest period, because they did that in the game too. They built like at the end of the Chroma Conclave stuff, Matt was like, "All right, you guys have like 3 years or something like that." There's a long time that passes between the end of the Chroma Conclave and the start of the Vecna stuff. And there's a lot that happens during the Vecna content or the Vecna series. I mean, it is unfortunate we're not going to get to meet certain characters. Who knows though? We might get to meet Tyrion Darrington. Because that is Sam's character when he decided to leave. When Scanlan decided to leave because everyone was playing tricks on him and stuff. So like I don't really know. I don't know what their plan is. It's going to be interesting.
Did Sam like change characters midway through or something?
Sam has not gone a single season without a major character change at all.
I did not know that.
Yeah, campaign 1, he Scanlan leaves the group for a short bit because basically Scanlan dies and they bring him back to life, but he was like still knocked out or whatever. I can't remember how it is, but they decide to prank him. And after the prank, and they also called his daughter, and that was the one thing he didn't want because he promised her he would be fine and not die. And they called her to help her do the ritual to bring him back to life. And he was upset about that. And he was like, "You guys don't even know me." And that's where, like, any fans of Critical Role know the meme of "What's my mother's name?" They bring it up all the time on the different all the different media that they do. And it's because no one knew like about Scanlan's past or his mom's name. And he thought that they only wanted him for his magic and not because they loved him. So he leaves with his daughter. And then he brings in Tyrion Darrington, which was, at the time, it wasn't even an official class, but it was one of the first artificers in D&D, or at least in Critical Role. Then in Season 2, he plays as Not the Brave, who was a goblin, whose backstory is that she used to be a halfling who was killed and resurrected as a goblin. They end up bringing him, or changing her body back to being a halfling again. So it was
okay.
he didn't leave. But
I remember that character, but I didn't know like exactly what went on there.
Yeah, he didn't leave, but he had a major character change, or she had a major character change. And then, well, we all know what happened this fucking season. His character flat out sacrificed himself, and so now he's running around as a Minotaur.
I was about to ask, like, what was he playing now?
Yeah, he's playing a Minotaur paladin of Asmodeus. And then, just real quick, this side tangent onto the actual series, what he's doing with Scanlan right now is fantastic. He used true polymorph on himself to make himself a centaur. So he's now running around with Scanlan's body, or Scanlan's torso and up, and a horse body. So he went from being a gnome to being a centaur. It's hilarious. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's... I really enjoyed Vox Machina Season 3. I thought it was really good. I love the series. I love what they do. I love what Titmouse does with the art. I love what they do with the voices. I love all the teases they do about the story or about the from the game that like they don't need like this like a lot of nods to the game that if you watched it you would know what they were nodding to.
Nice. Yeah, I watched the first like I don't know 5 or 6 episodes of the first season. I don't remember if we finished it or not. And like it was good. Like they did a good job with it for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? They release 3 episodes a week, which is nice. It paces properly. Each episode, each set of 3 is like an arc in and of itself. So like you get some fulfillment from watching those 3 episodes. It's nice. It's really I like that. I like that more than releasing 1 episode a week. And I much prefer that. I honestly prefer like 3 episodes a week over releasing it all at once.
Yeah, you know what? I definitely can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to say about?
No. I was not about that. I was gonna try. We were actually trying to go to their Radio City Music Hall show next year. They sold out during pre-sale.
Holy shit!
Yeah. But I somehow was able to get 2 tickets for the Camden show next month. For $80 a piece.
Nice.
So,
how'd you work that one out?
they were resale. Somebody was reselling them, and I was checking them today, and I was like, all right, great. So I have a ticket for me and a ticket for somebody. I'll figure it out or sell it. I just wanted to get 2 just in case I got somebody to go with.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Where are the seats at?
They're in the back section of seats to the side.
Okay, so like the 200 section.
Yeah, but
I mean that's not bad.
No, because of how big that stadium is, it's not bad at all. What was it? 201 row H, seat 5 and 6. But they'll have screens to where if there's something I can't see, I'll be able to see. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I just wanted to go experience it for once. And I was supposed to check at noon or at 10 o'clock today when they went live for general admission for the Radio City Music Hall. And yeah, they were already sold out. I forgot, and by noon they were sold out. But as I was checking yesterday for the pre-sale tickets, they were sold out. So like I thought like, oh, they just sold out a pre-sale. They only have limited pre-sale. Nope. I bet they're going to be incredibly expensive on bigger sites or on others.
Totally. I also missed like a minute there. I've had my headphones plugged in. Apparently the other end was not plugged in though, so they were not charging. So they just died. So I just had to quickly grab the cable and plug it in elsewhere.
That's good.
So I don't know what you said, but I'm sure it was entertaining, right?
Yeah,
it was
cool. That's all that matters. Where were we? Anything?
Dead Space Remake.
Right. You finished it.
Yes, I beat it yesterday. Better than Callisto Protocol. That game's great. I enjoy the Dead Space games, or the Dead Space game, the remake at least. I played like 9 hours of the original, so like I almost beat it when I played it back in the day. I don't really have the nitpicky complaint I have about the game is it doesn't tell you when you have gotten everything in a room like other like specifically Resident Evil does. What like in Resident Evil games, if you get every item that's in a room, it changes the color of that room, so you know you don't have to go back there anymore. It doesn't do that in Dead Space. The other issue I have is anytime there is zero gravity that takes place, moving around in zero gravity just sucks. Because it's like the controls aren't good. There's no like, and maybe there is, and I just didn't remember the control scheme. But like to fly up, there's no like, oh, hit a button and you'll go straight up. You have to face up and fly up, or face down and fly down. And it was frustrating and uncomfortable and confusing and disorienting. I hated the zero G stuff. The story was good. The story, like the unfortunate thing is, I knew the story. I knew the twist at the end, which is your wife was dead the whole time. Like I knew that because I remember Eric playing it, and I remember watching Eric play it back in the day. So like it didn't impact me as much. I forgot that it was just like, oh, you thought you were talking to your wife when you were talking to somebody else. I thought she was just dead and it was just a ghost. But yeah, I like the game. I like it. I like the combat system, like the gunfighting. I like that they don't just die from headshots. You have to like break apart their bodies. There are a couple of enemies that for some reason are incredibly hard to kill, and I don't understand why, because they're incredibly small, and I can explode them and they're still running around. It makes no sense to me. And the weapons in the game are freaking fantastic. Like, I wish I'd upgraded the plasma rifle, which is the machine gun, more. But the line gun, which is I think a gun that most people use, is just great and strong and powerful. It's just it shoots a laser, like a laser in a line forward, and like it'll cut things apart easily, especially if you upgrade it more. The strongest, one of the most powerful weapons in the game is the weapon you start with, the plasma cutter, which is always funny to see, especially in a survival horror game, that you're going to always run around with the first weapon you get in the game. Because the other issue with this game might be similar to my issue with Resident Evil 4, where the game takes an account of the items and equipment that you have, and it always gives you for drop, like enemies drop items and equipment, and boxes open up and drop items and equipment, and it always gives you ammo based on what you have. So you never have too much, but you never have too little, and it always gives you health based on what you have. So if you're low on health and you start killing things, they're going to start dropping health items. So like that kind of takes away a little bit of the fear, because you're like, oh, well, I know once I start fighting things, I'm just going to get healing items, so I don't have to buy healing items. Like there were a few times I did buy healing items, and I felt like a chump buying healing items, because I could have used that money. Like it was 5,000 to buy a medium health kit, which barely heals you by like 2 health points. And it's like, well, I could have just, bought more nodes and upgraded my equipment more. I could have bought 1 more node rather than 2 healing items. And then, of course, there's always a sequence at the end of any survival horror game that is a pain in the ass and frustrating. You saw one of those when it came to moving the beacon out of the ship. That was a pain in the ass instance. And when it comes to these games, I just have to get better remembering that, like, there's more than just shooting. I could be freezing them or stunning them and whatnot. I always forget to do that. But it was nice that there wasn't, like, it kind of sucked that there wasn't real good melee. There's melee attacks that you can do, but it's not really worth doing because these enemies will hit you hard, and like they don't die unless you rip apart their body parts, and that's generally not going to happen. The force cannon, my favorite weapon in the game. The primary fire is just like a wall of force basically that you shoot at enemies, and you just rip apart all of their skin and tissue off of their bodies, so then they start running around and they're just muscle or bone. And then the alternate fire is a gravity well that will pull everything into it, so you pull the gravity well, and you can then either switch to the line gun or to your plasma rifle or whatever else, and just start unloading on that with, like, say you have that and the flamethrower. You do the gravity well, and then you grab the flamethrower and you start burning everything that's stuck in the gravity well. It's great.
Okay. That's actually... So
yeah,
I know very little about Dead Space.
Yeah.
It's free on PS Plus.
You know what?
Yeah,
I don't think I looked at... Thank you for saying something. I don't believe that I looked at the October games.
I hadn't... I had seen it, like, end of September when they got announced, but actually it was a month where I forgot to go get them until like last week when I booted up to play more college football, and it was like, you haven't gotten your PS Plus games. And yeah, it's Dead Space, WWE 2K24, and then I forget what the other one was, but
Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh yeah.
Plus.
Oh boy.
That game's actually super fucking twisted and fun.
I was gonna say I have actually heard plenty of good things about Doki Doki Literature Club.
I made Richie play it.
Yeah, I got halfway through.
Oh right, yeah.
Went back.
Fun game. But anything else about Dead Space?
No, Dead Space definitely better than Callisto Protocol. I think Callisto Protocol is a solid game in and of itself, and it's hard to compare them because their combat systems are kind of drastically different. But
just both shooters?
Well, Callisto Protocol leans a little bit more on melee and reaction to melee, whereas like there's not that much. Like Callisto Protocol, you can actually dodge and block enemy attacks. There's none of that in Dead Space. It's all just shooting. Okay. So like there's actually a combat system in Callisto Protocol.
Oh right, yeah. We were talking about that because I said it's some of it sounds similar to what they do with like the glory kills in the newer Doom games, where like doing a melee move to like murder people, they're like you get like ammo and health that way.
No. There's you just if you kill an enemy and you run over and stomp on it, you just get items.
No, but I didn't mean that's what Callisto Protocol did. I meant that's what Doom did.
Mhm.
Which, when you were describing Callisto Protocol, it reminded me of
Okay.
how Doom does it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's a quick beat. Like if you're interested in survival horror or just like a fun sci-fi style creepy game, like it runs into that problem that a lot of survival horror runs into, where once you reach a certain point, it loses its creepiness and it becomes more of an action game. And like it's still a little scary there, but there wasn't, like, again, for me, I don't find monsters scary, I find jump scares scary. So like the game itself only had like one or two actual points where I like got scared. For the rest of it, it was like, all right, this atmosphere is a little spooky or a little creepy, but overall it wasn't, I'm not worried about it. Like I'm not scared.
That's fair.
I have too much ammo, I have too much healing items. I'm not worried about dying.
It's kind of like in some of the modern not the most modern Resident Evils, I don't think, but like your 4s and 5s where like ammo doesn't become as much of an issue. It becomes more of just an action game.
Yeah, that became my issue with yes, we've had this discussion. Like it might be, people might look up to Resident Evil 4 about what it all came from, where it all came from it, but it's like, yeah, but it's not that scary and it's not that hard and it's not Resident Evil. Like that's where Resident Evil started to take a turn.
Yeah, because it became a different series at that point.
Yeah.
And it got, because 4 was so well received, they pushed the next 2 games in that direction really heavily too.
Yeah. And then 6 wasn't well received at all, so then they went kind of back to their roots in 7, which did keep with a lot of the survival horror tropes of being difficult and ammo was scarce and things like that. And yeah, it was like 7 and 8, but 8 kind of like started to lean away from that again. But they were both great games.
Which, hey, at least you like those, even if you didn't care for Callisto Protocol as much.
Yeah. But what's
and
nice
you enjoyed
is,
Dead Space.
Yeah. What's nice is Alien October is officially over.
There's still 2 more days left in October.
There's 1 more day left in October.
There's today and tomorrow.
But I'm not streaming today, and tomorrow it's my group stream, so I'm not doing Alien game tomorrow.
What a slacker!
I've been doing State of Decay all month during group stream day on Thursdays because there was no co-op Alien horror game that's available on Game Pass and both PC and Xbox with crossplay.
Just saying, man. October's not over.
No, I'm also like, these games didn't really click with viewership for some reason. I don't know why. I especially was more shocked at Callisto Protocol than anything else, or not Callisto Protocol, at Dead Space than anything else, that it didn't really click with viewership, but like, I'm kind of happy Alien October is over because like I wasn't really getting the views and clicks.
That's fair.
And I was mad that it took me till 11:30 yesterday to beat Dead Space because I wanted to play the beta for Monster Hunter Wilds, and I didn't get to do that. So that's going to be this weekend. That's going to be Sunday.
Play tonight.
No, I do not even have this Friday's episode of Bloodborne recorded yet. So I have to record and edit that after we're done here.
Nice.
Yeah, is it?
No, not at all. I was just trying to be encouraging for you.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, I feel like that is probably going to be an episode. So you can go record your Let's Plays.
I will.
Good. I'm glad. And with that said, if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. No, YouTube. Kaylee's also barking at something, which is distracting me right now. Okay, I think she's done for the moment. YouTube, Spotify, all those places. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. It all helps. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what is your streaming that we were just talking about?
Twitch.tv/B_1 for video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Sundays bring back Monster Hunter Sundays, and I'll be back into Resident Evil Hardcore mode with Claire's B-side.
That's right. I forgot that you still had that to do.
Yep, you gotta do Claire's B-side, and then I have to do Mega Man X, whatever, X9, 8, whatever the last one is that I just couldn't touch. Because it was that, well, I touched it, and I hated it. And I'm probably going to start playing Immortal Phoenix Rising, because that's a game that I got on a Steam sale that I've been always wanting to play and never got around to playing it.
Nice. I got nothing else. So thanks for listening. Bye.
See yous.
Bye.